The stars looked normal that night. Commander Jake Thompson stared at his screen aboard the USS Liberty, sipping his coffee as he did every night shift. The space monitoring station floated quietly above Earth, watching for asteroids in space. Debris. Everything seemed peaceful. Then the alarms started screaming. "Commander, we have incoming signals." Lieutenant Sarah Johnson's voice cut through the noise. "Multiple contacts beyond Jupiter." Jake set down his coffee and leaned forward. "How many?" "Sir, I'm counting thousands." The blood drained from Jake's face. He watched as red dots filled his screen, each one representing a ship larger than anything humans had ever built. The alien fleet moved in perfect formation, spreading across space like a deadly net. "Get me Admiral Martinez." Now. Within minutes, Admiral Lisa Martinez appeared on the main screen from Earth Defense Headquarters. Her usually calm face showed deep concern. "Commander Thompson, what do we have?" "Admiral, we're looking at an invasion fleet. Conservative estimate puts it at 3,000 ships. They're holding position just beyond Jupiter's orbit." Lisa took a deep breath. "Are they trying to communicate?" "Not yet, ma'am. They're just waiting." On Earth, emergency meetings erupted in every major city. Presidents, prime ministers, and generals gathered in secure bunkers. The news spread quickly despite attempts to keep it quiet. People looked up at the night sky with new fear. Dr. Paul Roberts sat in his laboratory at the Global Communications Center. As Earth's top expert in alien languages, he had trained his whole life for this moment. But training felt useless when facing the real thing. "Dr. Roberts." His assistant burst through the door. "They need you in the war room. The aliens are about to speak." Paul grabbed his equipment and ran. In the war room, dozens of screens showed the alien fleet from different angles. Military leaders argued in hushed voices. Everyone fell silent. When Paul entered, "They're broadcasting on all frequencies," General Kevin Moore explained. "We need you to translate." Paul put on his headphones just as the transmission began. The voice that came through wasn't human, it was deep, mechanical, and cold. But somehow Paul understood every word. "People of Earth," the voice announced. "I am the Supreme Chancellor of the Galactic Empire. Your planet has been selected for integration into our domain. You have 24 Earth hours to surrender. Resistance will result in complete annihilation. This is not a negotiation." The transmission ended. The room stayed silent for several seconds. "Well?" Admiral Martinez asked Paul. "Did we understand that correctly?" Paul nodded slowly. "Yes, but there's something odd about the message. Give me a moment." He played the recording again, this time focusing on the background patterns. His fingers flew across his keyboard, analyzing waveforms and frequency patterns. There was something hidden in the transmission, something that didn't match the main message. "What is it, Doctor?" Martinez pressed. "There's a mathematical sequence embedded in the carrier wave. It's subtle, but definitely intentional. Someone put it there on purpose." "What kind of sequence?" Paul frowned at his screen. "I'm not sure yet, but it's not random. It's like someone is trying to tell us something without being noticed." Meanwhile, on the USS Liberty, Jake Thompson watched the alien fleet with growing dread. The ships were massive, each one the size of a small city. Their weapon systems glowed with unknown energy. Earth's defenses looked like toys in comparison. "Sir," Sarah Johnson called out, "one of the alien ships is moving. It's coming toward us." Jake's hand hovered over the weapons console. "Steady. Don't do anything unless they show hostile intent." The alien ship stopped just outside of weapons range. A smaller craft detached from its hull and approached the Liberty. Jake held his breath as the craft matched their orbit. "They're sending another signal," Sarah reported. "But this one's different. It's encrypted." Back on Earth, Paul Roberts had made a breakthrough. The mathematical sequence hidden in the message wasn't just numbers. It was a key, a way to decrypt other communications. He applied it to the new signal coming from the small craft. Dr. Roberts, Admiral Martinez watched him work. "What does it say?" Paul's eyes widened as the translation appeared on his screen. "It's a warning from someone inside their fleet." "What kind of warning?" Paul read the message aloud. Earth defenders. This communication is hidden from Empire Command. You have something they have never encountered. Use it. The Empire conquers through fear. No species has ever responded with anything but terror or surrender. You have one chance. Show them what makes humanity different. Signed, The Observer. General Moore scoffed. Different? They have thousands of ships. What can we possibly do that's different? But Paul Roberts stared at the message with new understanding. That's exactly the point, General. They expect us to fight or surrender. They've conquered countless worlds that way. But what if we do neither? Are you suggesting we just sit here? Moore demanded. No, Paul said slowly. I'm suggesting we do something they've never seen before. Something unpredictable. Something human. Admiral Martinez studied the message carefully. This observer, whoever they are, is taking a huge risk to help us. We should consider their advice. But what makes us different? Jake Thompson's voice came through the comm system. What do we have that other species don't? Paul Roberts thought. About human history, about all the times humanity had faced impossible odds. We adapt. We create. We find solutions no one expects. Maybe that's what they've never encountered. As the 24-hour countdown began, humanity faced its greatest challenge. The alien fleet waited in perfect formation, expecting surrender or desperate attack. But humans had always been full of surprises. Paul Roberts looked at the hidden message one more time. Somewhere in that massive fleet, an ally had reached out. Someone who believed Earth had a chance. Now they had to figure out how to use it. The clock ticked down. 23 hours remained. The fate of Earth hung in the balance, waiting for humanity to do what it did best. The unexpected. Dr. Paul Roberts hadn't slept in 12 hours. His eyes burned as he stared at the computer screen, working to decode more of the hidden message. Coffee cups littered his desk. His assistant had given up trying to make him eat. There's more here, Paul muttered. The observer didn't just send a warning. They sent us instructions. Admiral Martinez stood behind him, watching the symbols scroll across the screen. What kind of instructions? It's quantum field harmonics. Very advanced mathematics. Paul rubbed his tired eyes. I need someone who understands quantum physics better than I do. Get me Dr. Amy Chen, Martinez ordered her aide. Tell her it's a matter of planetary survival. 30 minutes later, Amy Chen rushed into the room. She was young, brilliant, and known for thinking outside the box. She took one look at Paul's screen and whistled. That's not just quantum math, Amy said. That's quantum communication theory. Whoever sent this knows physics we're just beginning to understand. Paul leaned back in his chair. Can you decode it? Amy's fingers danced across the keyboard. Give me an hour. Above Earth, Captain John Miller commanded the orbital defense platform. His weapons were the most advanced Earth had ever built, but against the alien fleet they might as well be sticks and stones. Captain, his weapons officer reported, the alien ships are adjusting formation. They're surrounding the entire solar system. John watched his tactical display with growing concern. They're making sure we can't run. Not that we could anyway. Sir, we're receiving another encrypted transmission. Same quantum signature as before. Send it to Dr. Roberts immediately. Back in the war room, Amy Chen had cracked the quantum code. Her face was pale as she read the decoded message. This is incredible, she whispered. The observer is telling us about the Empire's weakness. General Moore moved closer. Military weakness? Shield frequencies? Weapon specifications? No. Amy shook her head. Something much more fundamental. The Empire has conquered thousands of worlds through fear. Their entire system depends on predictable responses. Fight or flight. Attack or surrender. They've never encountered a species that responds differently. Paul connected the dots. The observer is part of a resistance movement within the Empire. They've been waiting for a species that could break the pattern. But what pattern? Martinez asked. Amy pulled up a new screen. Look at this. Every species the Empire has conquered followed the same path. First, they panic. Then they either attack with everything they have, or they surrender immediately. The Empire's battle computers can predict both responses with 99.9% accuracy. So what are we supposed to do? Moore demanded. Dance for them? Paul and Amy exchanged glances. Maybe, Paul said slowly. Maybe that's exactly what we do. The room erupted in arguments. Military leaders shouted about dignity and fighting to the last breath. Politicians worried about looking weak. But Amy raised her voice above the noise. Listen, the Observer sent us tactical data about the Empire's fleet. Their AI systems are incredibly advanced, but they have one fatal flaw. They can only process information that fits their parameters. Show them something completely outside those parameters and their systems will crash. You're talking about system overload? Martinez asked. Exactly. The Empire expects military responses. Their computers are built to analyze threat levels, weapon systems, and battle tactics. But what if we give them something they can't categorize? Something so fundamentally different from warfare that their systems can't process it. Captain Miller's voice crackled through the comm system. We're running out of time. 18 hours remaining. Paul Roberts stood up, energized by a new idea. I need to talk to every media network on Earth, every artist, every musician, every creative person we can find. Why? Moore asked suspiciously. Because we're going to give the aliens exactly what they don't expect. We're going to show them what makes humanity truly unique. The Observer's next message arrived as Amy finished explaining the plan. This time the alien ally was more direct. Earth defenders. You begin to understand. The Empire's strength is also their prison. They cannot imagine responses beyond their experience. Your species has something we have observed in no other. Infinite creativity in the face of danger. The ability to laugh when you should cry. To sing when you should scream. To create beauty in the shadow of death. Use this. Overload their perfect systems with your beautiful chaos. Admiral Martinez made her decision. Do it. Whatever insane plan you have, Dr. Roberts, do it. We have nothing to lose. Paul grabbed his communicator. This is Dr. Paul Roberts to all Earth broadcasting stations. I need 1 hour of your time. The fate of our planet depends on what I'm about to tell you. As Paul prepared his message to humanity, Amy continued analyzing the technical data. The alien sensors are incredibly sensitive, she reported. They can pick up every electromagnetic signal from Earth, every broadcast, every transmission, every phone call. That's our weapon, Paul said. Not guns or missiles, but information. Pure chaotic human information. General Moore still looked skeptical. You really think confusing their computers will make them leave? Not leave, Paul corrected. Reconsider. The Observer says no species has ever made them question their methods. We're going to be the first. In space, the alien fleet maintained its perfect formation. Thousands of ships waited in synchronized precision. Their weapons powered up slowly, a clear threat to encourage surrender. But on Earth, something unprecedented was beginning. Paul's message spread across the globe. Emergency broadcast systems carried his words to every corner of the planet. People of Earth, we face extinction, but we have one chance. In 12 hours, I need every single human being to do something. Create something, sing, dance, paint, write, build. Show these invaders the one thing they've never seen, the full scope of human imagination unleashed at once. The countdown continued. 15 hours remained. And for the first time in their long history of conquest, the Galactic Empire was about to encounter something their perfect systems couldn't predict, couldn't categorize, and couldn't understand. Humanity was about to be completely beautifully chaotically human. The world had never worked together like this before. With 6 hours left on the alien countdown, every human on Earth prepared for the most unusual defense in history. In New York, street artists gathered in Times Square with spray cans and brushes. In Tokyo, thousands of origami artists folded paper cranes in the parks. Musicians in London tuned their instruments in Hyde Park. Every city, every town, every village buzzed with creative energy. General Kevin Moore watched the preparations from the Global Command Center. "This is insane," he muttered. "We're facing extinction and people are painting pictures." Admiral Martinez smiled slightly. "Look closer, General. We're not giving up. We're fighting back in a way they've never seen before." Dr. Paul Roberts coordinated the global effort from his lab. His screen showed live feeds from around the world. Children drew with chalk on sidewalks. Grandmothers knitted colorful scarves. Teenagers created light shows with their phones. 2 minutes until we begin, Paul announced over the global communication network. "Remember, everyone participates, everyone creates. Make noise, make art, make anything that comes from your heart." In India, 10,000 drummers lined the streets of Mumbai. In Brazil, samba dancers filled the beaches of Rio. In Egypt, light, artists prepared to project holograms onto the pyramids. The Earth itself was becoming a canvas. Captain John Miller watched from the orbital platform. "The alien ships are adjusting their sensors. They're trying to figure out what we're doing." "Let them try," Amy Chen replied over the comm. "They're about to get more data than their systems can handle." The countdown reached 0. Paul Roberts spoke the words that triggered humanity's response. "Earth, show them who we are." What happened next defied every prediction in the Empire's battle. Computers. 8 billion humans began creating simultaneously. In Africa, tribal drums thundered across the savannah while traditional dancers moved in ancient patterns. Orchestras in Vienna played Mozart, while jazz bands in New Orleans improvised wild melodies. The sounds clashed and merged, creating a planetary symphony that had never existed before. Visual artists projected massive holograms into space. The northern lights seemed to dance with new colors as light shows erupted from every major city. Children's drawings were scanned and transmitted into space alongside the works of master painters. Poetry in 100 languages filled the airwaves. On the alien command ship, the Supreme Chancellor watched his tactical displays with confusion. "What are they doing? Is this some kind of weapon?" His computers struggled to respond. Warning lights flashed as the systems tried to categorize the incoming data. Was it an attack, a surrender? The machines couldn't decide. "Sir, our threat assessment algorithms are failing," an alien technician reported. "The humans are generating more diverse data than we can process." "Increase computing power," the Chancellor ordered. But the more power they added, the more confused their systems became. The humans weren't following any pattern the Empire had seen before. Every prediction model failed. Every scenario analyzer crashed. Back on Earth, the creative explosion continued. Scientists created visual representations of mathematical formulas. Athletes performed synchronized movements that defied traditional forms. Chefs cooked dishes that filled the air with complex aromas, knowing the alien sensors would detect even these subtle creations. Dr. Roberts monitored the alien fleet's response. "It's working. Their formation is starting to break." Indeed, the perfect alignment of thousands of ships began to waver. Some vessels drifted from their positions as their navigation systems struggled with the sensory overload. The observer sent another message. "Continue. Their command structure is failing. No species has ever confused them like this. You are beautiful chaos incarnate." 5 hours into humanity's response, something unprecedented happened. Young people around the world began combining their art forms in ways never seen before. Musicians played along with the rhythm of construction workers' hammers. Dancers moved to the sound of keyboards clicking as millions typed stories and poems. "Sir," Lieutenant Sarah Johnson called out from the Liberty, "some of the alien ships are broadcasting back?" It was true. Several Empire vessels had begun transmitting their own patterns, not weapons or threats, but attempts to understand and even participate in the creative chaos. The Supreme Chancellor watched in horror as his perfectly disciplined fleet began to fracture. "Order them to stop. Maintain formation." But his commands were lost in the flood of human creativity. The Empire's rigid hierarchy couldn't function when its members began thinking outside their programmed responses. Dr. Amy Chen made a crucial discovery. Paul, look at this. The alien transmissions are changing. Some of them are trying to create their own art forms. Paul studied the patterns. They're learning, or maybe remembering. The observer said there was a resistance movement. Maybe we're awakening something in them. As Earth's creative response reached its peak, children around the world did something unplanned. They began drawing pictures of peace, images of humans and aliens holding hands, of spaceships landing in fields of flowers, of a galaxy where different species created art together. These simple drawings, transmitted into space alongside everything else, had an unexpected effect. The alien computers, already struggling with the chaos, completely shut down when faced with the concept of interspecies friendship. It was so far outside their parameters that their systems simply stopped trying to process it. The observer's message was jubilant. You've done it. The Chancellor's control is breaking. Ships are refusing orders. Some are even trying to communicate directly with Earth. You've shown them a new way. As the 20th hour approached, the alien fleet was in complete disarray. Their perfect formation had dissolved into scattered groups. Some ships moved closer to Earth, not in threat, but in curiosity. Others hung motionless, their crews apparently debating what to do next. General Moore watched in amazement. They're not attacking, they're not retreating, they're confused? Better than confused, Paul said with growing hope. They're thinking. For the first time, they're thinking for themselves instead of following orders. The empire that had conquered thousands of worlds through fear had finally met something it couldn't conquer: the unlimited creativity of the human spirit. And in that meeting, both species were beginning to change. The Supreme Chancellor stood on the bridge of his command ship, watching his perfect fleet fall apart. Ships drifted from formation. Communication channels filled with confused reports. His officers looked to him for orders, but for the first time in his long career, he had none to give. Status report, he commanded, trying to maintain authority. His second-in-command, Sub-Commander Veltor, struggled to respond. Chancellor, our systems are... We cannot classify what the humans are doing. Our tactical computers keep trying to categorize their actions as either attack or surrender, but what? But it appears to be neither, and both. And something else entirely. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Johnson watched the chaos from the USS Liberty. The alien fleet, once a perfect display of military might, now looked like a broken necklace, its beads scattered across space. Commander Thompson, are you seeing this? She called out. Jake Thompson stared at his screens in amazement. I'm seeing it, but I don't believe it. Their ships are they dancing? It was true. Several alien vessels had begun moving in patterns that matched the rhythms being broadcast from Earth. As orchestras played and drummers drummed, these ships swayed and spun in space, their crews apparently trying to understand human art through movement. Back on Earth, Dr. Paul Roberts received another transmission from the observer. This message was different, less formal, more emotional. Earth friends, it read. You have done the impossible. For the first time in 10,000 years, members of the Empire are questioning our ways. Your response has awakened something we thought was lost forever, our own creativity. The observer continued. I must reveal myself now. I am Science Officer Zarahi of the vessel Harmony's Edge. My resistance group has waited generations for a species like yours. We once knew art and music, but the Empire suppressed these things as inefficient. Watching your response has reminded many of us who we used to be. Admiral Martinez read the message with Dr. Roberts. They had creativity once? Paul nodded. And we're helping them remember it. Look at what's happening to their fleet. Indeed, the alien armada was experiencing something unprecedented. On dozens of ships, crew members had stopped following orders. Instead, they were accessing ancient cultural databases, rediscovering their own forgotten art forms. The Supreme Chancellor watched his military machine crumble. Lock down all cultural databases. Return to battle stations. But his orders were increasingly ignored. Sub-Commander Veltor turned to him with an expression the Chancellor had never seen before. Doubt. Sir, Veltor said slowly. Perhaps we should listen to what the humans are showing us. You dare question me? I question our methods, Chancellor. In all our conquests, have we ever seen anything like this? Have we ever wondered if there might be another way? On the ship Harmony's Edge, Science Officer Zarahai openly defied protocol. She broadcast on all Empire frequencies. Fellow citizens of the Empire, the humans have shown us something remarkable. They face extinction not with violence or fear, but with creation and joy. When did we forget that we once did the same? Her message sparked debates on countless Empire ships. Crew members began accessing forbidden files, remembering their species' artistic heritage. Some attempted to recreate ancient dances. Others tried to understand human music by creating their own. Captain John Miller reported from the defense platform. More ships are breaking formation. Some are, I think they're trying to communicate through light patterns. Amy Chen confirmed it. They're creating their own light shows. They're trying to answer our art with their own. The creative exchange between species grew. Human children had drawn pictures of friendship, and now alien crew members projected their own images into space. Abstract patterns that somehow conveyed curiosity and wonder. General Kevin Moore, the skeptic who had doubted the plan, watched in amazement. They're not just confused anymore. They're learning. More than learning, Paul Roberts said. They're remembering. The observer, Sarahi, says they had culture once. We're not teaching them something new. We're reminding them of what they lost. The Supreme Chancellor's authority crumbled by the minute. More ships joined what was becoming a rebellion. His tactical displays showed a fleet in complete disarray, but also something else. Energy signatures that indicated celebration rather than combat. Chancellor, Sub-Commander Veltor spoke again, more boldly now. The humans have won. Won? They haven't fired a single weapon. Exactly. They've defeated us without violence. They've shown our people something more powerful than fear. The joy of creation. Sir, it's time to acknowledge what's happening. On Earth, the creative response evolved. As news spread that some alien ships were responding positively, humans began creating collaborative art. Musicians left spaces in their songs for alien contributions. Artists created partial paintings inviting the aliens to complete them. The observer, Zarahi, sent coordinates to Earth. These are the locations of ships whose crews wish to communicate peacefully. They want to learn about human culture. They want to remember their own. Dr. Roberts shared the coordinates with Admiral Martinez. We have a choice now. We can continue seeing them as enemies, or we can help them rediscover what they've lost, Martinez finished. The 24-hour deadline was approaching, but it no longer mattered. The Empire's invasion had transformed into something else entirely, a cultural awakening that spread through their fleet like wildfire. Young crew members on Empire ships began creating their own music, inspired by Earth's example. They shared ancient poems from their homeworld, long forbidden by Imperial doctrine. They danced in their ship's corridors, movements that hadn't been seen in centuries. The Supreme Chancellor made one last attempt to restore order. All ships, remember your duty. Remember your oaths to the Empire. But his words fell on deaf ears. The perfectly ordered fleet that had conquered 1,000 worlds was gone. In its place was something new, a collection of beings rediscovering joy, creativity, and the power of art. As the final hour approached, Sub-Commander Veltor made a decision that would change the galaxy forever. He opened a direct channel to Earth. People of Earth, he announced. I am Sub-Commander Veltor of the Galactic Empire. I speak now not as a conqueror, but as someone you have helped to remember who we once were. We request to learn from you. The Empire hadn't just failed to conquer Earth. Earth had conquered them, not with weapons, but with the one thing they had forgotten existed, the infinite power of creativity and joy. The 24-hour deadline passed without a single shot being fired. Instead of destruction, Earth witnessed something no one had imagined: thousands of alien ships rearranging themselves into patterns that resembled flowers, stars, and spirals. The mighty invasion fleet had become the galaxy's largest art installation. Admiral Lisa Martinez stood in the command center, tears in her eyes. "We did it. We actually did it." Dr. Paul Roberts nodded, equally moved. "We didn't just save Earth. We might have changed the entire galaxy." The Supreme Chancellor sat alone on his command ship's bridge. His officers had left to join the cultural awakening spreading through the fleet. Only his pride kept him in his chair, staring at screens showing his empire crumbling. A gentle voice interrupted his thoughts. "Chancellor." He turned to see Science, Officer Zarahi, the observer who had betrayed him. But her expression held no triumph, only compassion. "You've destroyed everything," he said quietly. "No," Zarahi replied. "We've remembered everything. Chancellor, do you recall the songs of our homeworld? The paintings in the crystal caves? The dances of the harvest season?" The Chancellor's stern expression wavered. "Those things were deemed inefficient, distracting. They were deemed beautiful once by your own grandmother, who was a poet before the Empire banned poetry." The old leader's shoulders sagged. For the first time in decades, his eyes showed something other than cold command. I had forgotten. On Earth, the unexpected was happening everywhere. Alien shuttles landed in city parks, carrying beings eager to experience human culture firsthand. In New York's Central Park, an alien commander tried to learn guitar from a street musician. In Paris, Empire soldiers sat with children, attempting to finger paint together. Captain John Miller escorted a group of alien officers through New York's Museum of Modern Art. The aliens stood transfixed before paintings, their advanced sensors analyzing brushstrokes and color patterns. "We had nothing like this on our ships," one officer admitted. "Only star charts and weapon schematics. How did we forget that beauty matters?" Dr. Amy Chen worked with alien scientists who had landed at MIT. They weren't studying weapons or technology. They wanted to understand the mathematics of music, the physics of dance, the chemistry of painting. "Your species developed art alongside science," an alien physicist observed. "We separated them. That was our mistake." The transformation rippled across the galaxy. As news of Earth's creative defense spread, other conquered worlds began to remember their own suppressed cultures. Planets that had been silent for centuries started broadcasting music. Species that had hidden their art for generations brought it back into the light. Sub-Commander Veltor, now acting as a peace ambassador, met with Earth's leaders. "You've started a revolution," he told them. "Not of violence, but of awakening. Worlds across the Empire are demanding the return of their cultural freedoms." General Kevin Moore, who had initially doubted the plan, became one of its strongest supporters. He organized cultural exchange programs between Earth's military and the Empire's forces. "We're not teaching them to be weak," he explained to skeptics. "We're teaching them that strength comes in many forms, and sometimes the bravest thing is to choose creation over destruction." 6 months later, Earth hosted the first Galactic Cultural Festival. Species from across the Empire came to share their rediscovered arts. The sky above Earth filled with light sculptures from a dozen worlds. Music unlike anything humans had imagined echoed through the atmosphere. Dr. Paul Roberts stood with Zarahi, watching children from different planets drawing together with chalk on sidewalks. "Did you ever think it would lead to this?" he asked. Zarahi smiled, an expression her species had recently relearned. "I hoped. For generations, my resistance group kept the old ways alive in secret. We knew that someday, somewhere, we would find a species that could remind us who we were. We never imagined you would do it so beautifully." The Supreme Chancellor, now calling himself simply Elder Vorm, had undergone the most dramatic transformation. He spent his days teaching young beings, both human and alien, about the importance of balancing strength with creativity. "I conquered worlds for centuries," he told a mixed group of students. "But Earth conquered me with a child's drawing and a song. That is true power." The Galactic Empire was formally dissolved a year after first contact. In its place rose the Galactic Community of Cultures, with Earth as a founding member. The massive warships were converted into traveling cultural centers, carrying art, music, and stories between worlds. Admiral Martinez, now Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Community, addressed the first interspecies assembly. We feared this day would bring our end. Instead, it brought our beginning. We thought we were alone in the universe. Now we know we're part of a vast family that had simply forgotten how to laugh, how to sing, how to create. The transformation wasn't without challenges. Some Empire hardliners resisted change. Some humans feared the aliens despite the peace. But art became the universal language that bridged these gaps. When words failed, music spoke. When fear arose, shared creativity dissolved it. Dr. Amy Chen established the Interspecies Institute of Creative Sciences, where beings from different worlds explored how art and science intertwined. Her first published paper was titled, The Physics of Joy: How Human Chaos Saved the Galaxy. Children on Earth grew up in a universe vastly different from their parents. They attended schools with alien classmates, learned instruments unknown to previous generations, and painted with colors that human eyes had never seen before. The story of Earth's creative defense became legend throughout the galaxy. Parents on distant worlds told their children, "Remember the humans. When faced with destruction, they chose to create. When threatened with ending, they chose beginning. When confronted with fear, they answered with joy." And in the vast expanses of space, where the Empire's warships once traveled in perfect, cold formation, now moved vessels carrying artists, musicians, and dreamers. They shared songs and stories, paintings and dances, connecting worlds not through conquest but through culture. Earth had faced extinction and responded with creation. In doing so, humanity didn't just save itself, it saved an entire galaxy, from forgetting that the greatest strength lies not in the power to destroy, but in the courage to create. The stars still looked the same, but now they sang with the voices of 1,000 worlds, united in the harmony that Earth had taught them to remember.